And good morning and welcome to the latest version of the First Alert. We're going to dig a little bit into what's happening weather-wise here this morning across our area, including the weekend and, of course, the tropics. The tropics have been a hot issue here, at least of late. You know, we went for a long time with not much happening in the tropics. Then suddenly, boom, it got active again. And we may have a little something that comes our way here before very long. All right, I'm going to start off here, though, with what's happening locally. First off, this is our Carowinds camera. And you can see for this morning, it's kind of cool out there, kind of cloudy out there. It's almost like a fall feel to the air with temperatures today that are starting off in the 50s and 60s. And we're going to wind up more than likely mostly in the 70s today. I don't think there's a big push for rain. In fact, I'll show you that here in just a moment. You can see it. This is going to be a cloud storm for us, at least during the day today. So what's left now of Francine, it's now a depression. About 125 miles to the north of New Orleans. By the way, New Orleans had some really heavy rain, anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of rain down that way along the immediate Gulf Coast yesterday, Louisiana, Mississippi, and there's still some really heavy rain over in the Florida Panhandle around Destin and Panama City. You can see that. But notice how the rain really sort of fades as it gets up into Georgia and tries to cross the Savannah River. That's because there's dry air in place. So this is going to have a lot of resistance trying to come northward over the next 12 hours or so. So I really don't think our rain chances are very high at all for today. The rain is going to be concentrated out across the middle part of the country, and what's left of this depression will essentially fade out over the next 24 hours over around Memphis, Tennessee. So let's take a look then at our forecast for today. Again, a fair amount of clouds around and kind of cool and a little breezy as well, but no more than a 10% chance of rain here in the Charlotte area, maybe a 20% chance in the foothills and the mountains. Temperatures in the mountains only in the 60s. The rest of us will be in the 70s to about 80 degrees this afternoon, again under generally cloudy skies. Now, because there has been a mention of rain in the forecast now for a couple of days for Friday night, a lot of the high school athletic directors, we talked about this, Eric and I did yesterday, had a feeling this would happen. A lot of the coaches and the athletic directors have decided to move their games to Thursday evening, to tonight. And it does tend to make sense because I'm much more sure that we won't have very much rain around tonight, though I'm really not sure that there's going to be very much tomorrow night either. But 21 games that I'm aware of have been shifted now to Thursday evening here. So you may be planning on heading out to one of these high school football games. And what we're looking at is temperatures this evening that'll be in the 70s. So it's not going to be terribly cold. It will be cloudy. And could there be a shower? Yes. But is there a likelihood of showers? No. I don't see a lot of rain in the forecast this evening. So let's take a look at it. This is the Futurecast. Now that first alert is out for Friday. But this starts this evening at about 9 o'clock, and very little chance for much rain. Again, if you're in the mountains or the northern foothills, there might be a shower or sprinkle during one of these games this evening, but I'm more concerned about the rain that comes in overnight and especially during the morning hours tomorrow. Now, this particular loop runs through about, late afternoon, about 3, 4, or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Notice when the rain chances are. They appear to be, based on this model data, greatest during the morning hours. So that first alert tomorrow is really, I think, front-end loaded. We're going to deal with rain for the morning commute, and so that's what I'm concerned about. You're either going to be driving in rain or likely on wet streets. So as you're making your way out the door for work and school tomorrow, for the first time in almost 2 weeks, we will have rain in the forecast here. We haven't had a drop of rain in Charlotte, really anywhere in our viewing area, since the Sunday before Labor Day. That was back on the 1st of the month, and today is the 12th, so tomorrow's the 13th. So we really have gone almost 2 weeks without much rain, and so here we go. Rain coming back into the picture, and I'll show you this one more time so you can sort of see it. Again, where's the rain? Down to the south of us this morning. Eventually this will pull up into our area, especially from I-77 eastward tonight, but even east of us, even into Union, Lancaster, Chesterfield, Anson counties, I can see rain overnight and early tomorrow morning. And I'll show you this again in a slower version. So let's start off wide. Now you can see where the heavy rain is this morning. It's out across, well, the Delta region of Mississippi, Alabama, into Louisiana, Arkansas. For us, again, we're fairly quiet, but tomorrow morning, there's rain knocking on the door. So at 7 o'clock, everybody's heading out the door for work and school, and, well, you can see we got rain coming up. And some of that could be on the heavier side. There could be a band from Wadesboro to Lancaster, over to Monroe, over to York and Rock Hill, perhaps up around Shelby area. And this would move through the Charlotte area as we go through the morning. And then by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Is it rain-free? No. But is it really widespread rain? No. And so, again, if some of the high school football games are holding in place for tomorrow evening, it's possible that you could be okay. Because, again, the rain chances look, as this first batch comes through tomorrow morning, by midday it's pulling away to the north and west. And so we may wind up with conditions improving tomorrow afternoon with highs that rebound into the upper 70s to near 80. It may wind up being warmer than it is today. So that's one thing that we're tracking. Now, let's move this ahead. I'm going to take it full so you can see it. I want you to pay attention to this. This is Friday afternoon. Now let's advance this to Saturday morning, 7 o'clock. Kids got a soccer game, got maybe a baseball tournament, maybe a hitting, tea time early on or a yard sale. Not much rain around. We still have a first alert in play for Saturday, but I'm going to tell you, the guidance I'm seeing here is suggesting to me that the rain chances are lowering. I've lowered them for Saturday. Right now, it's a 50-50 chance, and that's probably too high, but we'll see. That's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Keep in mind, as you know, we talk about this quite often. This is model guidance. It's not gospel. It kind of gives us an idea, but it doesn't necessarily mean this is exactly what's going to happen. So, a good meteorologist will, again, don't pull any punches. You don't want to hedge. You want to hedge your bets. You don't want to pull everything off the table at one time. But I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing here for Saturday. I don't see a lot of rain during the morning, and I don't see a lot of rain during the afternoon. So let's advance this now to Sunday, see what we see here. Well, as we go into early Sunday morning, not much around, and I don't see a big trigger for rain for Sunday afternoon either. Now, that's good news if you've got outdoor plans. Again, you may have to dodge a couple of showers, maybe even a thunderstorm Saturday afternoon. I don't think there's much rain around Sunday. We never really did think there would be. I'm going to hold the first alert right now for Saturday, but Lisa, Rachel, Alicia will take another look at this afternoon, and if the data sort of lines up the way I think it's going to, and we like to say the trend is your friend, and the trend is definitely down for rainfall on Saturday, but it could easily go the other direction, so we will see. But Bands, Brews, and Barbecue up in Mooresville, you're looking pretty good for Saturday evening, and then of course the Panthers have a Sunday game here at the stadium, Bank of America Stadium, Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So let's take a look at that forecast. The Chargers are in town, and apparently that's not a big draw because tickets are available. A lot of tickets available, apparently. But you know what? That oftentimes happens when you have sort of a non-traditional team coming in. What I mean by that is, the Chargers are a great team, been around a long time. They won last week. But that's not a team that the Panthers often play. It's not like the Saints or the Giants or the Cowboys or the Jets or Patriots, one of these regional teams that's a lot closer to us. So apparently a lot of tickets available, and the weather may turn out okay. I see right now temperatures probably at kickoff about 75 degrees or so. That's not bad, and probably holding in the 70s to maybe getting near 80 during the middle part of the afternoon before backing off. Again, is it a totally dry day? Probably not, but is there a big push for rain? I'm sitting here now Thursday morning, and I don't see it. Could that change? Yes, but I don't think so at this point unless things change dramatically. Now, I'm much more concerned about going forward from here, and this is why. That area that you see in yellow, shaded in, is an area of concern from the National Hurricane Center. As of this morning, there's about a 30% chance that this could develop over the next 7 days. I will say this. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening here, but there's also a lot of data that are suggesting that there will be a storm that develops off of the Carolina coast and then backs westward towards the Piedmont. Highly unusual for that to happen. That pattern is not typical. Now, oftentimes when we get a tropical or even a subtropical system to come up, it sort of comes towards the coast and then normally moves northward. It doesn't move westward. Now, this may become tropical. It may not. It may not even develop. Again, all bets are off on this, but at this point, over the next 7 days, and it's probably really in the next 5 days, there's about a 30% chance of development here. So we shall see what will happen with this. But my point with this is that if this develops and moves back northwestward, it's going to impact the Carolina, well, both North and South Carolina, including the Piedmont, including the foothills, including the mountains. And so the concern there is that we would get a band or bands of heavy rain that could come in and wind as well. So again, this could be something that becomes tropical If it does, it would be a named storm more than likely. Could be a depression, but it could be a tropical storm. And we'll see. Some of the guidance suggests this comes in Monday. Others suggest Tuesday. Others suggest it just sort of loiters across the Carolinas and keeps rain going for quite some time. So we'll see about this, and we'll keep you posted on it. But right now, that's our next big concern. So if it was to be something named, it would be Gordon. We've already had Alberto, Beryl, and Chris. They were all early in the season. Debbie was a strong storm. That impacted us, but that was a long time ago. Ernesto didn't really do much, hit Bermuda, but of course that was one that brought a lot of rip currents to the Carolina coast. Francine is the one we're talking about right now that's working itself northward from Louisiana towards Memphis. That will die out, but Gordon would be the next one. So we will keep an eye on this potential storm. Want to say hello to some of the folks tuning in here this morning. India is over in Raleigh. Megan's in Concord. Diane in Wadesboro. Sandy over in Albemarle. Watching from Shelby is Doris Rogers. Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Watching the first alert. Dig a little deeper in here on what we think is going to happen. So this is just one model. Now, this happens to be the European model. So you notice what happens. This has this cluster off of the coast and backs it up towards the Carolina Piedmont. This happens to be going out through Tuesday morning. So it has rain essentially starting Sunday night, heavy rain Monday, Monday night, and still more rain Tuesday, and potentially even into Wednesday. One thing I want to point out, though, is that this is the European. The American model, the GFS, the Global Forecast Solution, it's a full day later than this. It comes in Tuesday. So yesterday afternoon, Rachel, Alicia, and Lisa, examining the data, they saw enough evidence here, enough concern, they put up a first alert weather day. There's a reason for that. It's because not only is it rain, but possibly wind, and this could be widespread and impactful, particularly if it becomes tropical. So right now, again, this is what one model looks like. Others are slower, but they all sort of keep rain lingering in here through the midweek period. Another thing is it brings up some wind. Now, we'll even have a bit of a breeze today in that 15 mile per hour range. Friday, 15 to 20, and then the wind speeds just gradually inch up Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday, and its potential, if this thing does make a development and landfall, that we could have 35 mile per hour winds here on Monday in the Carolinas, including Charlotte and the Piedmont, all the way up into the foothills and the mountains. Again, that's not set in stone, but we will keep an eye on this, and I'm going to urge you, because this is such a fluid situation, and it's a relatively new development in the models, I want you to check back with us. We will have, obviously, forecast updates throughout the day today, tomorrow, and over the course of the weekend as well. And by the way, take a look at it. This is going out a week and a half. Climatic Data Center indicating that, hey, we may wind up with above normal precipitation in the Carolinas, out west as well, dry in the north, dry in Texas. And as far as temperatures go, seasonal. The coldest air, if you will, out across the desert southwest, above normal temperatures in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, and near normal temperatures here in the southeast, including North and South Carolina. So here we go. Cloudy skies for today. There's your 7-day forecast. And we're looking at about 80 degrees today, which tells me most of the day, most of the afternoon, in fact, will basically sort of stew around in the 70s. And then we start to see our rain chances come up a little bit. Good morning to Kathy down in North Myrtle Beach. Appreciate you checking in this morning. Nicole up in Hickory. Glad you're with us. A lot of folks tuning in. Let your friends know about this as well. By the way, of course, you can always get updates online at WBTV, WBTV.com. I always post updates as well. I'm on Twitter and Facebook at Al Conklin if you want to check that out. But where I said we've got that rain chance in the morning for tomorrow, especially. And so it's probably an 80% chance of rain tomorrow morning and a 20% chance in the afternoon. So I put up a 60% chance. But keep in mind, it's really front end loaded, I think, tomorrow. It's morning, midday, and then less so as we go into the afternoon and evening. I've left the Saturday first alert. That may get lowered. The rain chances appear to be lowering as we go into Saturday, so I'm seeing improving conditions, maybe a little bit warmer there. And then Sunday for the Panthers game, just a stray shower. I don't see much rain. And again, from Monday on, all bets are off here because we could, in fact, be looking at either a subtropical or some sort of a tropical system, or maybe just a big low pressure system that develops off the coast. And again, depending on the models, the timeliness, there are definitely differences in track. There are differences in strength. There are differences in timing. We could wind up with quite a bit of rain here next week. I don't want to venture a guess just yet because, again, there's so much uncertainty on this. But the idea is that we could have elevated rain chances, and they could be prolonged, strung out for several days, perhaps starting Sunday night and lingering at least through Wednesday. Now, coming up tomorrow on WBTV News in the morning, and of course here, wherever you stream us, at 7:30, I will have that 10-day double weekend forecast. We'll look at this weekend and next weekend as well. So I'm going to go out in time. So I want to urge you to make sure that you're checking back tomorrow morning. Our news starts at 4:30 in the morning, runs through 7 on WBTV. And then, of course, we'll be here. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7:30 or thereabouts, 7:35. And I will have you that double weekend forecast. I'll give you one more look, though, at the 7-day here before we call it a day, because I've got to run back over to the studio, which is just around the corner from where I'm at right now, and a cut-in for WBTV. So we'll keep you posted on this weather situation, but that's what it's looking like right now. Hope you have a great Thursday. Again, kind of a fall feel out there. Enjoy it if it's your kind of weather.